Hello everybody and welcome to I didn't check the episode number of This Old Knit podcast. And I will try to check it right now. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. And you can find show notes sometimes on the episode thread for the This Old Knit podcast. And it is episode 58. 58, yay! So, it's been 2 weeks since I recorded. I recorded right before we headed off for our family reunion in Iowa. And we got back from that last Sunday, and then we immediately jumped back into things. So I went back to work on Monday, and Meg went to her first week of school, starting on Wednesday. So we've been super busy, and it is Monday, August 15th, I think. Yep, August 15th, 2016. And yeah, so I have a lot to show you because I had a ton of knitting time in the car. I only worked on just a few projects. I mainly worked on my penny candy tee, my coffee date shawl, and socks. But I did make a lot of progress on all of those, and then I also knit quite a bit during nap times at the hotel. And if you hear sound in the background, Magwin is watching Return of the Jedi in her bedroom right next to me, so you'll randomly hear probably R2-D2 sounds sprinkled in, and some occasional other sounds that Star Wars fans might recognize. So, yeah, let's start with whips, and then I will show FOs. I do have one for this week with a funny story, and then I have some Cal stuff to talk about too, so stay tuned to the end for that. So let us jump in. The first thing that I have behind me, so I'll just go in order of whatever is behind me, is my penny candy tee. So if you will recall, I am knitting this out of Wool & Vine yarns in 2 colors. It's very wrinkly because it just kind of got shoved in my bag very meanly. Okay, so I'm knitting it out of 2 colors of Wool & Vine yarns in the Strassa base and the Footsie base. The green is Succulents, and the rose color is Jilted Rose. So this is a fitted tee with lace on the bottom, around the neckline, and the sleeves. And I'm hoping that I'll have this done in time for fall, because I think it'll be actually a really great fall tee with the warm sock yarn, because my office is actually quite warm. I have an office right next to the window, so the window actually makes it pretty hot in my area where I work. So I can't always wear long-sleeved sweaters in the fall time because they're still kind of messing around with the climate control at that point. So some days it's pretty hot. So I think I got maybe 4 or 5 stripes done since last time I showed it. I should really put a progress keeper on here. So I will do that after I podcast today. And then next time I'll be able to show you actually what I finished between now and then. So that is... Oh, there's a little... Ooh, I'll put it on right now. That is in my Mina Makes bag. And I'm going to put this little guy right in here. This is one of my T-Rex progress keepers from the Such Wonderful Stuff shop. And she has really great stitch markers. They're very, very affordable. And she has a lot of the little ones with just a single bead, kind of like this one. This one's not from that shop. It is from Miss Babs. I got some yarn from there to do a sweater for Joshua, and it came with a little mini and a stitch marker. So that is that project. A reasonable amount of progress. I didn't work on that. Like I said, I did not work on that a ton, but when I was kind of visiting with family and stuff, I tried to stick to mostly stockinette projects so that I would be able to not lose track of where I was. So I worked on that, a pair of vanilla socks, and then my sockhead hat when I was visiting with people. So this bag, I almost did not touch at all. I don't think I've shown these in a while though, so I will show them now. Oh yeah, Megan got a travel spirograph from her family. So these are some vanilla socks for my husband, and they are knit out of the West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn, 4-ply sock in the mallard colorway. So I basically just got done with all of the ribbing I'm going to do, and then I didn't start on the leg yet. So this was one of those that I could have done in that knitting stockinette stitch, but I kind of wanted to try to finish my sock head before it gets cold, because I think that'll be a really great fall weight hat. So I'm working really hard on trying to get that done. Then these are, I'm sorry, I'm going really fast. But these are my Vanilla Bean socks out of the Felici sock yarn in the Kaleidoscope colorway. And this is the second sock, so if you'll recall, I've completed one. So I'm just, trying to match it as best I can. You can see I have a bit more pink than the first one, which is fine. They will be more or less the same, not quite the same, but that's just fine with me. I just try to get as close as I can to matching stripes. Sorry, an ant was just on my foot. They wander about in our house. Our old house is not well sealed. It's not. So things get in. And I'd rather it was ants than some other choices. Ants are not so bad, really. They're just passing through. Okay, so that's everything in this bag. And then let me move stuff down here so I keep my table nice. Don't need to show anybody my address. Okay. Then in this bag is kind of my scrap yarn blankets is what I'm keeping in here. This is a Bird Leg Bags bag. I've shown it before on other podcasts, but I don't think I really worked on my 10-stitch twist. Pretty darn sure I didn't. However, I did finish a couple of Hexie Puffs. So this one is out of my leftover opal sparkle yarn that I showed the finished socks from the last podcast. So I usually try to do at least one Hexie Puff when I finish a project to make sure I can add it to my blanket. And then this one is from some minis that I received right before we left for our vacation. So I got one of the packages that I was setting up a swap for in the Homespun House group. Probably 2.5 years ago, actually, I started doing this sock yarn swap where you send out 20 mini skeins and then people can keep however many of them that they want, replace that same amount, and then send it on to the next person. And the first one, I think, finished up maybe a couple months ago. So this was round 2, and I was the last person on that one, so I got that package, like I said, a couple weeks ago. So they've all taken about 2 years to finish, which is kind of crazy, but they went all over the world, so that was really fun, and I did get it. So like I said, I wanted to knit up one puff right away, and this came skeined up, so it was easy for me to do. So, like always, I'm just kind of knitting puffs as I have time. Here's the yarn. It's an opal sock yarn, and I like that it came out almost all yellow. So my needles are free for that. So I need to cast another one on. And before I go on to whips, I will go ahead and share that package because I'm kind of talking about it right now. So the last person on the list before me was Spin Monkeys, and she actually has her own shop. She's an indie dyer, so she sent a gorgeous bundle of minis, mostly of her sock yarn. So that's these. And I think the only one that isn't hers, oh, there's two of them that aren't hers. These two are not hers. This is Blue Moon Fiber Arts. This one's Joanne Sensations, Souls and More, which I haven't tried. It's kind of cool. Grays and green. And then all the rest of these are her sock yarn. And I think I'm going to keep these two for my 10 stitch twist. And this one too. And actually this one would work for purple. So they all would work for my 10 stitch twist except for this one. And this one I'll just make Hexie Puffs out of. So those are really great. And thank you, Tara, for those. And then she also included a little package of goodies for me. So some teas, candy, and a set of stitch markers. They're in there. They're the nice little bead kind with a green bead. So I definitely need more of those. I always need more for like shawls and stuff like that. So those will be well loved. And then this bag has the other minis from other different people. So like I said, I already used one from the batch. And there's one that feels cottony. Kind of feels like cotton. It's cream colored. That might be fun to try a little bit of hand dyeing. And then there's one. This one is Patons Kroy. A cool red and black one. That reminds me of Yarnder Woman. And then a white and black one. Purple and yellow. This one is from Crafty Knitter 7. It says it's unknown yarn. I like unknown yarn. Ooh, this one's gray with tweed. Tweed. This one is a nice lime green. Some Patons Kroy rag shades. Some nice pinky. It's very soft. Kind of pearly. Some blue. So there's definitely some candidates for my 10 stitch twist here, assuming that it goes well. This one's kind of a dark rainbow. Another black, blue, black. Blah, blah. Ooh, this one's cool. Pumpkin-y and fall. Oh, I'm so excited for fall. I can't wait for it to get here. It has been brutally hot the last couple weeks. And this one's greens and purples. And this one is earthy tones. So those are all, whoa, throwing things. All very fun, and I am excited to dig into those. Knit some hexies. And that kind of thing. And it came in that fun bag. I like to reuse these kinds of bags too. Now that I'm done with that, I can dispense with that bag. I try to recycle my mailing bags too, so if you get a package from me and I just peel the label off and tape a new one on, I try to reuse stuff as much as I can. Okay, and then more whips. I was done with that bag. I'm on to my last bag. And this one is my bag that I usually take to work. I got this years ago at REI, and it is a really great bag. It's super durable, and it's supposed to be for holding a laptop and stuff like that, but inside it has this flat pocket. You're not going to be able to see it, but it's Velcro-y, but it's stiff. And that's where I put like patterns and stuff that I've printed out. Okay, so then I have in this bag my coffee date shawl. So this one I have made obviously considerable progress since you've seen it because you never saw it cast on. I just showed all the yarns and talked about it. So here it is, my coffee date shawl. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or not, but my edge is curling in like crazy, which makes sense because it's just stockinette. So I don't know if I just accept that and maybe it blocks out a little bit and I just deal with the fact that it's going to curl in on the side, or if I'm doing it wrong. So if anybody else has knit this and can tell me if you did something to make that edge not curl in, or whatever, fine, it's okay when you start wearing it. I appreciate some advice. But there it is. So just to remind you, I'm knitting it in 3 colors. This is Spud and Chloe Fine in the popcorn colorway. This one is No Makers House Gnome in the Coffee colorway. And then this one is Knitting Notions. Shoot, I don't remember what the base is. It's their sock yarn that has bamboo in it. And it's in the Peridot colorway. So this is for the Gilmore Girls cowl from the Knitting Broomstick podcast, and this is a pattern by Cece Allman. So it's actually 2 cowls that I'm knitting it for, both the Gilmore Girls cowl and the Coffee with Cece cowl, which is a year-long cowl to knit everything out of that book. So I like it so far. I finished 1 full repeat of all of the charts or all of the patterns, and I think starting here I'm going into my next set. So it just gets larger on this side. It's an asymmetrical shawl, but I'm gonna do it until I get sick of it or it gets really huge. I don't know which, but I think it'll be really nice for like wrapping around me for wintertime. So I'm excited about it, and it is fun and Gilmore-y, and I'm enjoying it. So, and I even wove some ends in down here at the bottom because you have to cut the yarn with every color change because it's too far to carry it, and I wouldn't want to anyway because of this cream. The other yarns would look really weird if I carried them up the side. So I wove in my ends here and here. And you can see I left pretty long tails on them, and that's because until I've actually washed and blocked it, I want to leave room for the yarn I've woven in to move around. So I'm going to not trim my ends, but I am trying to work some in every time that I work on it so that I don't end up with a lot of ends because I won't want to weave them all in if I wait till the end. So I just have this one, and this one to weave in now, so that's not too bad. And like I said, I'm really enjoying it. So I'm using, I think, a size 5 needle. Pretty sure it's a size 5 needle US on that. And hopefully I'll be able to get it done by the end of September because that's when it has to be done, and that still hopefully gives me time to finish the other socks I need to finish to complete that cowl. Okay, and then my other thing I'm knitting for the Gilmore Girls cowl is the sock pattern by Cece Allman. That is the Gilmore Girls inspired Where You Lead, I Will Follow, which is the theme song in the Gilmore Girls series. And excuse me, there was a kit that was released for it, but I did not get the kit. I'm using an older stash yarn from Spark Story, It's the Water Nymph colorway. No clue if they still dye it or not, but this is the very first speckled yarn I ever purchased. And I've had it in my stash for at least 2 years. So it's light blue with speckles of dark blue, yellow, and sort of a, what is it, kind of turquoisey? Yeah, turquoise. It's probably good. The pattern is written for toe up, but I am adapting it to go top down, toe down, top down, which essentially I just am working the chart from top to bottom instead of bottom to top. And that seems to be fine. It looks reasonably like the original. When you do that, you're not going to get an exact same sock, but that's fine. It's close enough and it looks good, and yeah. So this one is also for the Gilmore Girls cow. And I should be able to finish it. I'm done with all of my gusset decreases, and I'm working on the foot now. And I'm doing it magic loop simply because I ran out of sock needles, because I have a lot of sock whips right now. And I need to finish some up. So I'm enjoying that. That's going along really quickly. And then my last thing, nope, 2 things. Lies. This is a new cast on. So it is for Kristen's group. She started a unicorn cow with the host of the Wolfenschafe, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, Schaefa podcast. That can be anything unicorn themed, just because unicorns are awesome and they're so cool. So I cast on for a pair of colorwork mittens for Megwin, and you're probably not going to be able to see this picture very well because I just printed it in black and white. But it is this one, so it's the Chance and Comet pattern, which was published in the Twist Collective. Can't remember which issue of 2015. But it's for children and for adults, so I might make some for me at some point. But the children's one has a horse on one and a unicorn on the other, or you can do both. They're fully charted for both mittens to be able to do either pattern on both. So I think I'm going to do unicorns on both, making them for Megwin, because last year she walks to school with my husband, and last year when it got really cold, her just plain mittens weren't really doing it. They weren't keeping her hands warm. So I thought if I do Fair Isle, she'll have double the thickness of yarn, and that might be enough to get her hands to be a little bit warmer. So I'm knitting it with Knit Picks Chroma in the Groovy colorway. I don't know if they still dye this one or not. Again, I got this at least a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, around the time I finished my sweater with it. Megwin really liked that and wanted a rainbow yarn. It was originally for socks, but I thought socks might not be such a great idea, so mittens are perfect. And then I'm just going to hold it with a plain old white Knit Picks palette. I got this in they had like packets of Knit Picks palette that you could buy for a while, and this one I think was in like one that was called the Petit Fours collection. So I had this in a lot of other pastel colors. I got it originally to knit the Spilly Jane's cupcake mittens with, because I have that pattern, but I'm not going to use all of this on those cupcake mittens, so I have plenty to knit unicorn mittens, and they're going to be fabulous. I'm really excited about those. And of course, I haven't got very far on them because I've been working on all of the things, so that means you don't get very much done on any one thing. This is what I've got done so far. Just ribbing. 1x1 ribbing, 2x2 ribbing. That's what my projects are. I realize I'm just fascinating for you guys, aren't I? But anyway, it's gonna be cool. It is. And it looks tiny, but it really stretches. So, and my child has really small hands. I think she's kind of right in the middle of the kid sizes. So I'm doing the cuff in size 1 needles, and then I'm going to use size 2 needles for the hand. So that's that one. And then for reals, last thing, I promise, of my whips at least. This is my socket hat. So this is knit out of Volan Vine yarns in the Water Sprites colorway. And I've made pretty considerable progress, but I still have a lot to go. So, like I said, this was the thing I knit on when I was just visiting with people and talking, because it was really easy. It's just knit, 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 knit all the way up. Don't really have to think about it. And there's the other side. So it's pretty fun. I still love it. It's still got quite a bit of a cake left. And that's it. That is all of my whips. Let's take a breath, everybody. Let's take a breath. I'll put things back together here, and then I will share with you my FO. And then I'll talk a little bit about cows, and then I'm going to maybe talk a little bit about the family reunion, and then I'll let you all go. No acquisitions. All right, FO. So these are fingerless mitts that I made for the Sherlock cow, which is still going on until the end of the month. I am co-hosting with Vegan Jilly of the Knitting Broomstick podcast, and it is knitting anything that is Sherlock themed. Just tell us how you think it relates to Sherlock if it's not immediately apparent. Now, co-hosting just means that we're both hosting a cow, and you get twice the fun of talking and chatting and entering for prizes. So if you want to enter for my prize, which is a Ravelry download of $10 or less, that US dollars value, then just put your FOs in my FO thread, and whips are allowed. I've got all the rules in the thread. And then if you want to enter in Jilly's, for Jilly's prizes, then post over in her group. And she may or may not have the same rules as me, so just make sure you check. So these are called Watson What's That on Your Hands. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and they were very super quick. So I knit them out of Cascade 220 Aran, or Superwash Aran, and it's just a red colorway. So I'm gonna put these in my Advent swap package for my partner on the Something Red Day. So there's the back. It's a basic kind of chevron, and then the palm is cabled. So these would be a great Christmas gift if you want something quick and easy. And it was very well written. I did them in a size 7 needle, and it called for an 8, and I probably should have done an 8 because they are snug. I think they'll be fine, and since it's superwash, I know it will grow a little bit when I wash it. So I do need to wash these. But I'm happy with them. So the story now of what happened. I finished one mitt, and I had it in a bag, and then I was working on my other mitt. And I went to a restaurant with my team from work, and when I was back at the office, I was taking a picture of my completed mitt, and I realized I didn't have the other one. So I thought, oh my gosh, I left it in the restaurant. So I texted my husband and said, hey, just can you double check, see if this is in the house, because if it isn't, I need to call the restaurant and see if they have it. But I was hoping that it was at home. And he said, oh yeah, I've seen that thing. JR had it on his leg earlier today. That's Joshua, sometimes he calls him JR. And I said, okay, great. And he found it, and he said, got it. And I was like, all right. So I came home, didn't think about it, because I figured he said he got it, so I assumed he took it and put it somewhere that would be safe from the kids. what he did was he took it, and that ant keeps crawling back on my leg. He took it and he put it on my desk. Well, in the meantime, Joshua took it again off of my desk. So I was at the point where over the weekend I searched for it, and I cleaned the living room, and I looked all over the place, and I could not find it. So I had basically given up and thought, I'm going to have to knit a third mitt, and I hoped that I had enough yarn. I thought I maybe did, because they don't take very much yarn, but I wasn't sure. I'm going to take them off because it's hot. So anyway, I was thinking, okay, fine, I'm going to cast on Sunday. I'm not going to do it today because I'm kind of mad about it. Because, you know, it was time that I spent, and I didn't want to waste time. I don't like wasting time. I don't think any of us do. And then my husband did one last-ditch effort under his desk, and he found it. Like, he has a computer case sitting next to his computer case because Joshua has figured out how to turn on and off his tower, his computer tower. So he put a second decoy one next to it, but it is all gutted out. So Joshua had taken the mitt and shoved it into one of the disk drive slots. And my husband happened to see a little bit of red, and so he found it and pulled it out. So now I have both mittens, and they're going to stay safely upstairs until it's time to pack up my Advent swap package. So there they are. Well earned. My What's on your hand mitts. Okay. And then last thing I've got is acquisitions. So before we left for Iowa, the Cozy Knitter was having her Christmas in July sale. And she posted all of her Christmas colors, and then or maybe it was holidays in July sale. She posted all of her holiday colorways, Halloween and Christmas. And last year she had made this self-striping yarn called Gingerbread House, and I didn't get it, and I regretted it because I saw all of these beautiful, beautiful striped socks being knit up with it. And so this year I was like, if she dyes it again, I'm gonna get it, because I was so sorry that I didn't have it, and I really would love to have a pair of Christmas socks out of it. So I got some. Isn't it pretty? So beautiful. So it came with, this is the Gingerbread House colorway, so it stripes in all these different colors. And then it came with this really beautiful cream colored mini, so I think that's going to be really pretty. I'm going to do cuffs, heels, and toes, and I might even have enough left over to make some for the kids, because I don't typically use a whole skein. And this is 420 yard skein, so I should have more than enough, especially with the contrasting colorway. So that's the plan for that. And then the other one I got, I shouldn't put things on there. I'm gonna make it shake. The other one I got was Joyful. And these are both in her Bliss base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. It's really soft. So this one has some really gorgeous, like gold, silver, pink, light red, which is this color, and then what would that be, like a olive green, and then a darker green. So I really fell in love with this one as well. So I'm gonna cast on all of the Christmas socks when I free up some sock needles. I gotta free up sock needles first. But I was very, very happy with those purchases. And I'm all set for Christmas sock yarn now. And I'm thinking one of my Christmas sock yarns might have to be something for my sweat partner. Could be fun. Okay. Anyway, that's that. I'm gonna run out of time here. The Knitting from Books Gal. I drew 2 winners. They're both going to be Ravelry downloads, $10 US or less. The first winner was post number 45, who is Little Watermelon. And the second winner is post 91, who is Woman in a Shoe. So if both of you would please contact me via Ravelry message, send me a PM, then I will gift your patterns to you. And then the Sherlock Cal, like I said, is going on till the end of this month. I will do a winner for that as well. I've said it'll be Ravelry download, $10 or less US. And like I said, I'll try to come up with some yarn as well. So yeah, get your projects in. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was I want to do just one big cowl for the rest of the year, because I'm going to start trying to do stuff for Christmas, and I want to make sure I get at least one sweater knit for each of the kids. I want to knit a couple sweaters for me, and I'd like to do some stuff with my stash. So I thought, why not do a stash related cowl? So I started a thread already for this, but I want to do Stashmas 2016. Woo! Stashmas! The idea behind that is just knit stuff from your stash. It could be stuff for gifts for other people. It could be stuff for gifts for you. Like I said, the gift is that you have room in your stash to buy more yarn. So yeah, hopefully this might become an annual thing. Could be anytime starting now. WIPs are allowed. Going all the way through the end of December. I think I'll draw some periodic winners throughout the next couple of months just to help keep people motivated. So yeah, if you want to share projects on Instagram, I'm going to use hashtag TOK Stashmas 2016, which is for this old knit. So yeah, hashtag TOK Stashmas 2016, and just knit projects from stash. I'm not going to check if it was in your stash because I'm not the knitting police. You do what you want, and it doesn't have to be knitting. It can be crochet, it could be woven, it could be spinning if you want to spin some stuff into yarn out of your stash. So just enjoy your stash the rest of the year, and yeah, that's all I've got. So really quick update on what has been happening. First, I got new glasses. Joshua broke my other ones. He ripped the earpiece off. So these are ones I ordered, and I thought that they were red. They're actually kind of a burgundy color, but I really like them. They took some getting used to just because I did not have rims on my glasses before, and I definitely didn't have this dark or big of a top part. So, you know, when you get new glasses, for those of you who wear glasses, if they're different in the frames, your eyes take a little while to kind of just block that out of your peripheral vision. And for those of you that have never worn glasses, well, good job. So I like those. And then the family reunion. So the drive took us about 10.5 hours there, and the kids did okay. The last 2 hours were pretty hellish. They were just done with being in the car. We didn't start out in the best place because everybody was kind of stressed. So by the end, it wasn't pretty. But we were happy to get there. We rested for a while, and then during the family reunion, eating was really challenging because yeah, Midwest and vegetarians, and we were in a smaller town. Not a lot of restaurant choices, and yeah, we just really struggled with it, trying to find stuff for everybody to eat. And there were a couple of times that we went for family meals that maybe there weren't a lot of vegetarian choices, so it was just hard. But we went to the grocery store one day and we bought a bunch of, because we had a little mini fridge in our room, we bought like grapes, cherries, just a bunch of fruit, hummus, crackers, carrots, and cereal. And the kids went through an entire bag of cherries. They both ate like whole containers of yogurt. They ate like hummus and crackers. It was like they were starving. So they just feasted upon all of this food and then took like mega naps and were in a really great mood after that. So that was good. Megan had a lot of fun playing with her cousins. There was like an arcade there, a little bowling alley, and what are they? Bumper cars? Yeah, like bumper cars. And since there were a lot of older cousins, she got to do some running around just with them. So I think she really enjoyed having that extra freedom. and it was nice for us because Joshua got some good naps in, and my husband got to visit with family, and there was a pool too, so we went to the pool. Joshua was not a fan. He was like, no, no bath, no bath. So he thought it was a gigantic bathtub. The last day he was better. He even went down, like, we went over to the kiddie pool, and there were some little tiny water slides, and he went down those several times, so that was good. So he was enjoying it the very last day. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I have some pictures, so I'll try to insert some pictures at the end. It was nice that Megwin got to spend some time with her great-grandparents. She was cuddling with them by the pool for a little while after she got out because she was cold, so she was snuggling with her great-grandma and talking to him and her great-grandpa, so that was very nice, and we were happy that she got to spend some time with her. And yeah, Joshua had a really hard time. I think just all the people and stuff was very overwhelming for him. So the very last night we were there, he had just a complete meltdown. My husband went and took Megwin to Dairy Queen to go and eat with all of the other cousins because it was last night we were going to be there, so they all went to get ice cream. And he just did not want to be with me. He wanted to have my husband. He wanted to go to sleep. It was all fine until he hurt himself. He pinched his little finger in my sunglasses, so he was folding and unfolding them, and he got his finger in the little part where it folds up. And it wasn't, he wasn't even like skin broken or anything, but I think that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And so he just started bawling and screaming for my husband, and he was going like, Daddy! And he was opening the hotel room door, and like we had the security latch on it, but he was sticking his head part way out in the hall and just screaming for my husband at the top of his lungs. And the only way that I could get him to stop crying, like he didn't want a nurse, he didn't want me to hold him, he didn't want anything. The only way I could get him to stop was to call my husband on the phone, and I said, you have to come back to the room. He has completely lost it, and he really wants you. And so he stopped crying long enough to go, Daddy, coming. And that's the way he says he's coming. And he was like, Daddy, coming, Daddy, coming. And was like holding the phone and kissing the screen and going and just saying Daddy coming over and over again. It was the saddest thing that I've ever seen. It was terrible. And I felt so bad, so I was just holding him while he was cradling the phone until my husband got back, and it was like a 2-minute drive. He could have walked and didn't realize that everybody was walking. So anyway, he got back, and then Joshua was okay, and Megwin stayed with her grandparents, and they dropped her off after she was done with her ice cream. So that was kind of our last night, and then the next day we just ate some of the food we had in the hotel room. We met everybody down in the lobby to say goodbye, and then we headed back out. And the drive back was better. We stopped like every hour, and Joshua was doing really well with his potty training. And where we made the mistake is that he took a big nap, and we decided we weren't going to do our scheduled stop. Big mistake. Because then he woke up probably 20 minutes later, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and there wasn't another stop for like an hour and a half. And of course he had to pee because he had been sleeping. So then we started the cycle of, oh, now we're going to stop and try to find desperately a bathroom at a gas station, and things kind of descended from there. So, but that was again the last 2 hours. So at one of the points I had bought crayons and just blank pads of paper, so I took those out and gave them to the kids for the last hour, and they just spent all of the time peeling the paper off the crayons, because both of my kids are crayon peelers. I don't know if anybody else's kids peel crayons, but mine do. Megwin did it from the time she was about Joshua's age, and now Joshua does it, and he didn't see her do it. He just started doing it on his own. So I make crayon peelers. It's okay. So yeah, that kept them busy, that kept them happy, and it got us home. So I was very, very happy to be home. We all just collapsed into bed and slept for a really, really long time into the next morning. But yeah, no, I actually had a really early meeting the next day. So even though we got in really late, I had to be into work by 8:30. So it was kind of, but anyway, we made it. We had a good time, and I'm glad that it doesn't happen every year because it was really hard. So yeah, I think so. I'm probably gonna run out of battery soon, so I'm gonna sign off. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, happy knitting and spend some time enjoying the things you love. Have a great week, guys. Bye.